Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel Klein and I will be your presenter for today's event. Today we're talking about entering attendance in the membership module. Okay, so as you can see, I have membership opened here. There's two ways you can enter attendance. Oh, and I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this. I'm using one of our workbooks for the outline for today. So if you have the Membership 202 workbook, it's specifically pages 2 through 12 today. So if you have that and want to follow along, feel free to do so, or you can head out to our website and always purchase the workbook if you're interested. But on the top of page 2, it talks about the two different options for entering attendance. You can do a people counted only option, or you can do entering attendance by name. Okay, so the biggest difference is people counted is only going to give you a spot to put in like how many people came. Okay, this is going to give you a total for your Sunday worship, but it's not going to give you any individualized information. Okay, now the attendance by name option, that's where you manually check that an individual was at your worship service. This is going to give you more flexibility with reports and more detailed reporting information. Okay, one isn't really better than the other. It just depends on what type of information you're going to need to pull out of the software later for which option you go with. Okay, so the book starts by going with the people counted only option. So up at the top here, we're going to go to attendance, and then we're going to click on attendance entry. Now let me make this screen a little bigger for everybody here. So when this screen pops up, before any information is displayed down at the bottom, you have to fill in some information on the top half here first, okay? So as you can see, you have events checked and groups and classes checked. Now, there is a difference between events and groups and classes. Worship services, you always want to set up as an event. Okay, and if you look at this column over here to the right, you can see that this is checked here under contemporary worship, evening worship, and Sunday AM worship. You can't check or uncheck these boxes. They are just here for visual or informative purposes, okay? So it's telling us that contemporary evening and Sunday AM worship, these are all events. All of your worship services should be set up as events. That means that anyone you enter in the database is available to attend this event, okay? Now groups and classes are a little different. So as you can see, my Sunday school classes up here, they do not have event checked, which quickly tells me that they're considered a group or class. And with that being said, you have to assign people into a group or class. So when you select first and second grade, which I'll show you in a minute, you're only going to see the people that have attended that group or class that are going to appear on that screen. Okay, so that's the biggest difference when you're setting up events versus groups and classes. Events, anyone can go to. Groups and classes, you have to assign people into. Okay, so let's choose, or I should say uncheck groups and classes at the top here. And then under events, I just have my 3 worship services. So this is an easy way for you to filter down to a specific option that you need. And for now, I'm just going to choose contemporary worship. Okay. After you choose the worship service you're wanting to put attendance in for, you have to specify the date that you want to put the attendance in. Okay, you can hit the little down arrow if you wish, or you can actually manually type in the date that you want up here at the top. I'm going to go with last Sunday, which is the 14th. Soon as you select that date, then the lower half of your screen is going to unlock and it's going to become available for you. Okay, so first thing here under people counted, you can see 0, amount collected 0. Okay, so if you are only worried about entering the people counted option, which is what we're doing right now, you're not going to worry about the lower half of the screen at this time. People counted, this is if you have someone who walks along the back of the church, sides of the church, and just counts how many heads are there. Okay, that's all you're going to do here. So I'm going to put in 75. for my people counted. Now you can also put in an amount collected if you wish, okay? So amount collected, it isn't going to affect anything over in donations or anything over in accounting, but it is going to give you, for some reporting purposes, an option to include how much money came in, okay? So I'm going to put $3,500, okay? Now you can hit this little details button. It's a little calculator, and if you wish, you can get a lot more specific or detailed, if you will, for the information of how the money came in. So if you want to break it up by adults from membership, children from membership, or other adults or other children, you can definitely do that to have it calculate out. But again, this doesn't create transactions over in donations or accounting. This is simply for reporting purposes when you go to run an attendance report. All right, so that is all you do for people counted. Super simple. You can close from here. You can print if you wish, but if I just close out, there's no save. So that kind of throws people off at first. Keep in mind there's no save on that screen. Once you put the information in, it's going to be there. So if I go back to contemporary worship and I look at my calendar, now you can see this day, the 14th, is green. It's green, which tells us that we've entered attendance for that day. And that is our people counted option here. Okay. Now, let's say you need to create a new event or group on the fly. You can do that here by hitting the little green plus sign, and then you can specify what new event or what group or class. Maybe you start a worship on Wednesdays. You could hit the plus, hit events, and then quickly create that new Wednesday worship service if you needed it. Okay. Pretty straightforward there for people counted, not much to it. Now let's talk about on page 4, the attendance by person. This is the option I believe most people go with. So I'm going to go back into attendance entry. I'm going to choose another worship service. Let's do Sunday AM. And you can choose the same date if you want because this is a different event, but I'm going to go back to the 7th just to keep things as simple as possible here. So once you choose your date, again, the lower half of the screen is now going to become available for you to add people to the worship service. So me personally, I like to do this a lot on my keyboard. There's a section in the book on page 7 that goes into more detail about using your keyboard to enter attendance a bit more efficiently than bouncing between your keyboard and your mouse. But if you decide to go with the person counted option, or not the person counted option, but the attendance by person option, you can simply use your mouse and click through the list and check what people have attended. You can also use your directional keys, which is what I'm doing here, and tapping your space bar on the keyboard. When you click the space bar, it's automatically then going to check that person. So this is a really fast or more efficient way for you to add multiple people for attendance by person. Now another fun feature here, if we go down to the Bernard family, if I hover over the present box here on anyone in the family, I can do a right click. And that allows me to check present for the entire family. So if I select that, then you can see my whole Bernard family now all has checked. So if it's family of 5, instead of manually going through and checking each person, you simply right click in the present box, check present for entire family, and then whomever is in that same household is then going to be checked. Okay. Pretty simple there. Also communion. If you wish to track who has communed and who hasn't, you can do that as well in this communion column. And then you can do a right click. You can check all if you want. That would include everybody, or the check for the entire family, or check communion for all that are checked as present. And once the communion box is checked, it also checks the present box. Okay, so that's a really nice feature. You don't have to come through here and check everybody present and then come back and check communed. If they communed, they were present. So you can do the right click here, or just a simple left click on the box, and it's going to go over here to the left and check them as present as well. Okay, now if you don't want to scroll through the list, say you need to do some tidying up of your list, you can also use this search box and find someone quickly this way. Type in the name, select them, and it's going to jump to their record and check their box. So that's also a fast way to look for people as well. You're going to have a running total up here at the top. So the total people available, how many you've checked as present. Also have a comments box here. So you don't have to use this. It is optional. It will show up on some of our reports. But if you want to put some meeting notes in, maybe you want to put the title of the sermons that the pastor's been working on. Maybe he's doing a segment of 5 different Sundays that are all tied together. You could put what lesson he was on that Sunday or she was on that Sunday. General meeting notes you can do here. Attendance factors, say attendance was really low that day, but maybe there was a level 1 snow emergency and nobody came out. Something like that. Again, this is all optional, but you do have the availability to type it in these open character fields if you want. Okay. One more thing here on this person present list. If you go to type someone, I'm going to start to type myself. And as you can see, I'm not in the database, okay? Always check inactive and do it again to make sure they're not inactive. But as I type, my name doesn't come up. So I need to add this person, if you wish, to be able to track attendance for them. You can come right over here to the right, hit this little green plus sign, and you can choose to add that person. So I'll choose the family category. Do have to put in the mailing label. You know the address, phone, mailing code, any of that, feel free to fill that in. But then back over here to the right, you have to do first name, last name, and then fill in that directory report order. You can continue to add another individual. Say I want to put my husband and kids in here, or you can just say add individual and close. And now Rachel Klein is in the list and marked as present. So that's a really easy way on the fly to get people put in that haven't attended before. All right, let's talk about the options tab up here on the right. In here, you have several different options for your attendance features. Over here on the top left, you can specify if you want to track communion for events and if you want to track them for groups and classes. If you uncheck this box to track communion for groups and classes, when you select a group and class up at the top here, then this column will be hidden. So it's just up to you if you want to see this communion column or not. Also, you can specify if you want to do absence tracking. Again, here's this excused column. You can either leave it checked or unchecked, and then that column will be visible or hidden. Okay. Over here on the right, you can relabel some fields. So this is the default field. If you want to change the term communion to something else, you would backspace out communion and then type in what you want. Same things for groups and classes. A lot of people like to call this time and talents. You can backspace out this under the custom label column and change it to whatever you want. Okay. Down here at the bottom, this is the sort by. So this is going to save specific to the user who's logged in when they change it, but this is going to change how your names appear in this list on the left. Okay, so you can do strictly alphabetical and then you can group it differently by family. But play with this. You could always come back in and change it. Nothing's set in stone. It's up to you and what you want to see. But if you have any confusion on what they mean, you can see right there, just hover over it and it'll give you a little bit of information what the different sorting is. Okay, so those are your options. The last thing I want to talk about here, actually, I want to show you a group real quick. I'm going to come up here and select a Sunday school class. So up here at the top, I rechecked groups and classes, so it would show me in my list any groups and classes I had available. I went ahead and I selected first and second grade Sunday school. I'm going to put a date in. Well, we can leave it on the 7th. That's fine. And then down here, you can see on my enrolled tab, as of today's date, I have 3 people in this first and second grade Sunday school class. I have Jen, Nate, and Rob. So I can check if they were present or not, or if they were excused, if we communed in Sunday school. But then I also have these other fields, this A, F, and S field. These fields are what we call tracking additional information. These are customizable and they are optional. So let me go show you what the A, the F, and the S stand for. So up at the top under Groups and Skills, I'm going to go to Set Up Groups. I'm going to choose my first and second grade Sunday school class. And as you can see, under this additional information section, I can track some additional information. So I can do participated well, that's going to have an A, brought a friend, that's going to have an F, or then studied the lesson, that's going to be an S, okay? In my catechism classes growing up, you always had to bring your Bible. So that could be something you could also choose to track. I always forgot my Bible, but if that was something else you needed to track for your Sunday school class, that would be another good example of additional information you could track for a specific group or class, okay? So if we're back on this screen and Jen participated well, she brought a friend, and she studied the lesson, we could check all three of those for Jen for this date, okay? And then up here in the top, here's your total, 2 people present, not enrolled. Here are some other people, options if you want to check someone even though they weren't in the group or class, you could do that. And then some additional comments as well.